I can feel that warmth from my heated gear. Get this camera going. All right. Good afternoon, folks. Rich from Have Moto Will Travel here. And I am out for my 6th anniversary ride. Six years ago, Tuesday before Thanksgiving, as some of you may already know, it was the first time I rode a bike in, since my miracle in Georgia and my surgery. And since then, I've tried to go out the Tuesday before Thanksgiving every year. And today is the day. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. It has warmed up to, I don't know, about 35 degrees here today. It started out, got up this morning, it was like in 26, I believe. And I said, well, you know what? It's that day. I'm going to go for a ride. Now, one thing I did do today is I put on my heated gear. And I haven't worn my heated gear since my cross-country trip in 2018. I'm recording on a phone app right now. It doesn't give me the highest quality audio, but it's certainly adequate from what I can hear. And it's much easier to just turn on my phone and start recording. As long as I'm synced to my phone, I'm all set. So, I don't know how long this ride will be today. I can feel my heated gear. All I'm wearing right now is my heated jacket liner. It tends to keep me pretty warm. I save the other stuff, the gloves, the socks, and the pants, or the pant liners, I should say, for when it's much colder than this. If I want to go out, it's a beautiful day in January and it's 15 degrees out, that's what that gear's for. But today, I don't really need it. The heated jacket liner is adequate to keep my core nice and warm. And there's no reason to put the rest of the stuff on. And I hate getting geared up. I don't know about you guys. To me, that's my least favorite thing about riding a motorcycle. Go ahead. I wish they'd fill that hole right there. It's such a hazard for motorcycles. Why don't we just go around it? So yeah, 6 years ago today, I got on my motorcycle for the first time in maybe, I think it must have been over 5 years. And it's strange when you're disabled, when you're controlled by a disability, you're used to it, disability. You really kind of just don't think that you're going to be able to do the things that you are able to do. And I experienced that through my whole rehab. I just, when they asked me at rehab to walk up some stairs, I just really didn't think I could do it because I hadn't been able to do it without crutches in so many years. And when I was able to do it, it really kind of came as a pleasant shock to me. Same thing with putting me on a stationary bike. they they put me on a stationary bike and said, "Okay, pedal." And I just, for the life of me, didn't. First of all, I didn't think I could. Second of all, I almost didn't remember how, because my hips just wouldn't go that way. And when I took those, forced myself to take those first few pedals, it was like a feeling of, oh, how can I put it? It was a feeling of freedom. And then they pretty much couldn't stop me from pedaling. She said, just pedal, let's try and do it for 5 minutes. And I just did it for 15 because it was such a, I don't know, it was such a feeling of freedom to be able to do something like that again. Then I went through 12 weeks of rehab at home after 2 weeks in an acute rehab facility. And I had the nurse come to the house like 3 times a week and have me do exercises. I had to give myself a shot every day in the stomach of blood thinners. And that was really kind of creepy. I'd never given myself any kind of a needle. Again, I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. But it's amazing what you can do if you put your mind to it. And I ended up doing all that stuff. And then at some point I was kind of in my old kind of, how can I put it? I was in my old habits. I was at my house sitting in the recliner, which is what I had done for years. It's all I could do other than go out to my car and go to work. And I never really kind of, or for the most part, I didn't have to get out of my car. And I did that for weeks, and then one day I said, you know what, I'm just living the life that I used to live. And this is really crazy. I'm capable of doing other things. And I decided I was going to get up and go out in the car and go do something that I hadn't done literally probably a decade. I was going to go to a store. I couldn't walk across a parking lot without my crutches. And the crutches were very painful and hard to manage, but I got up and I got in my car, and what store did I pick? Bass Pro Shops. I wanted to go look at guns because I hadn't been able to go to a firing range in years, and I thought that was something that I wanted to do again. And just the trek across the parking lot without crutches was, it was a magnificent feeling. Now, by the time I got inside and walked around the store, I was pretty winded, because I wasn't used to being on my feet like that. And I went to a second gun store that day, and a third one that day. And that really kind of, that whole experience changed my mindset. And I realized that one of the things that I really wanted to do was ride a motorcycle again. But I had been used to not being able to, I couldn't get my leg over a motorcycle, honestly. And I wasn't convinced that I could. And then I just said, you know what? It's time. I have to at least try. What's the worst thing that can happen is I fail, and I'll have to try again. And again, I forced myself out into the garage. Sharon was out. I don't know where she was, but she wasn't home. And I went out into the garage. I stepped up on the peg of this beautiful Kawasaki Voyager that I had purchased and never been able to get on. I purchased it in 2014 for a trip, and I had never gotten on it. I shouldn't say that. I got on it once and really injured my shoulder trying to get off, because I couldn't stand up on the pegs to get off, and I pulled myself up with my my arm, and I kind of really hurt my shoulder. So I was wary of doing that again. But on this particular day, I was able to get up on the peg, swing my leg over, and sit on this beautiful Kawasaki Voyager, and it was glorious. And when Sharon came home, I said, come on to the garage, I want to show you something. We walked out there, and I said, take a video of this for me. I'm going to put the video up for you to see, and you'll see this is the second time I got on my motorcycle.
Oh, now.
And Sharon and I were elated.
Ooh, baby.
She was really happy for me, and I said to her, you can't hear me say it. When I nod my head there, I'm saying, I'm going for a ride. I'm not going to wait till spring. I'm going for a ride. And that week, it was already November, I went out for a ride, and I rode 50 miles just to see if I could. And that was on a Saturday, the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And that was really, truly my first ride. But it was only 50 miles, and the first time I really got on the bike to ride was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I met my friend Jim. You should check out his channel. It's OSJ Rides, I think. He's changed the number several times, the name several times. I don't know the current name. I think that's what it is, OSJ Rides. I'm not sure. But I went for a ride, and I got all the way up to Tilton, New Hampshire, which is about, I don't know, 40, 45 miles away from here. And I had planned on just going home. But somehow, I don't know who called who, Jim and I spoke, and he was out for a ride. He said, well, why don't you come down and meet me, and we'll ride together. And I had to ride all the way down to, I think, Brookline, New Hampshire. And we met down there, had a cup of coffee, and my ride that day was 250 miles. And then, unfortunately, because of weather, remember, it's Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I had to put the bike away for the winter. And I couldn't ride until the following spring, and it was a late spring at that. And I was chomping at the bit to get back on this bike and then do our trip that Carl and I were going to do in June. I never want to forget that day, and I celebrate it every year. It's one of the reasons I think I would have a tough time selling this bike. It took me for my first ride after being crippled, and then it took me on my first cross-country ride. And I have a history with this bike, and I have a relationship with this bike. I love it. And the way it operates, I think it loves me also. And even though I've purchased a Goldwing, I keep this one around. I had the pleasure of seeing it from a distance last week. I went for a ride with my youngest son, Adam, and I let him ride this. I have encouraged him to ride this on any number of occasions, but he really kind of had no interest, and I couldn't figure out why until he rode it, when he told me that he had really thought this thing would be big and heavy and unmanageable, and he was very surprised at how nimble it is, how much get up and go it's got, and what a pleasure it is to ride. So I'll keep this around, at least for now. Nobody knows what the future holds. But I remember my history with this bike. I also remember the people that the people who are responsible for me being able to do this again. First is my wife, Sharon. It took me a long time to become completely crippled. It started when I was 46, didn't end until I was 64, 63 really. And she stuck with me the whole time. She's a good wife. She took good care of me. Oh, I'm sorry. My emotions are really just right under the surface on this day every year. Just because I realize how blessed I am to be able to do this and have a second chance at life, at a good life. And, excuse me, Sharon was there for me, and I can't tell you how many ways. I used to be in the living room, and it's probably 15 feet to the kitchen, and I used to wait until she got home from work in the evenings to ask her to get me a drink, because the thought of walking those 15 feet into the kitchen and back, and the pain that I was going to have to go through to do it, just wasn't worth the drink. She never complained, never squawked, not a bit. So the first person I want to say thank you to is Sharon. The second person I want to thank is Vicki Sims, who she gave me my life back. I was in so much pain for so many years. I couldn't get anyone to listen to me about what was wrong with me. But Vicki did. And even though I had x-rays and CAT scans and MRIs from all kinds of doctors on several occasions, she didn't want to see any of it. She examined me with her thumbs and a tape measure. She told me what was wrong, and then she fixed what was wrong. And after 17 years of excruciating pain, every day, sciatic pain, all of a sudden I didn't have it anymore. And it was, again, such a freeing experience. I couldn't even wrap my head around it. 3 weeks later, I went to a doctor named Dr. Daniel Ward. Well, first, thank you, Vicki Sims. I never, ever forget you. I say a prayer of thanks for you and Dr. Ward every day. I thank God for the healing skills that he gave you and for your perseverance in learning them. You're really remarkable people, both of you. So anyway, 3 weeks later, I went to Dr. Daniel Ward at New England Baptist Medical Center, Orthopedic Hospital. I'm not really sure what they call it. Or New England Baptist, anyway, in Boston. And Dr. Daniel Ward performed surgery on me, pretty complicated surgery. And he had to do both hips at once. Couldn't do one at a time like he usually does. And even though he told me I was the worst, but I wouldn't be the hardest. When I went to see him in December, I think it was December 16th, actually, just so he could see my progress from rehab, he told me that I was the worst and I had been the hardest as well. And when I asked him why, he said, "You're a big guy." And at the time, I weighed, I weighed 290 pounds. I'm sure flipping me around on the operating table wasn't a good experience for him. Hope he didn't hurt himself. And by that one time I went to rehab, my body was so swollen from the surgery, I had ballooned to 305, and I really didn't understand it until they explained it to me. I think you can see from, I'll put a video up of me at acute rehab. You can see how big my butt is. That's all swelling from the surgery. And I want to thank Dr. Daniel Ward again also. I mean, these people are dedicated medical professionals. They've dedicated their lives to helping people. And I'm the recipient of all of that dedication and perseverance. And I can't say thank you enough to each of them, to all of the nurses that helped, the physical therapists that got me back to the point where I could walk again. I'm blessed. And every year, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, as long as I can, no matter the weather, other than snow and ice, I intend to take a ride on what I call Old Glory here. And be thankful. Now you guys probably don't want to hear this, and I don't think I'm going to offend too many people because not a lot of people watch my videos, and that's okay. The people that do, I want you to understand who I am, where I'm coming from. Understand that I'm grateful, so grateful for every day that I can live a life of motion. So, on this Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I'm riding. It's got to be probably around 35, 36 degrees. My fingers are cold. I didn't wear my heated gloves. I didn't think I would need them, but my fingers are cold. But the rest of me is warm. I'm only wearing jeans today, but I've got fleece underneath, a layer of fleece underneath, and I'm pretty warm on my legs. And my core is lovely. Just like spring, like it wasn't cold out at all. So, it won't be a long ride today. I've got some stuff to do at home. I want to cook a crustless pizza today. I've been working on my weight and my blood glucose. I have been informed that I need to bring my A1C down, and I've been working on this since September 11th. I made some changes on that day. I figured it was a good day because I'd always remember the date. I've lost 33 pounds since September 11th. And let's see, that's today is the 21st. So I think I've done pretty well with that. Continue to work on it. I'm doing something. I started out with carnivore, and I've tried to really kind of stick to that diet. I haven't been 100% carnivore. There have been a few days that I've gone to the keto end of things, and included, a salad or some broccoli. And it's funny how when you're used to eating nothing but meat, that a salad or broccoli can seem like such a treat. So, looking forward to going to my brother-in-law's house down in Massachusetts for Thanksgiving dinner. It's always a good time down at his house. And my son and daughter-in-law will be there at some point, and that's my youngest son who's married, and my oldest son will be there as well with his dog Marvin. It's always good to see the family, spend time with the family. So I want to wish everybody a happy holiday, a happy Thanksgiving for those of you who celebrate it. I know that not everybody does, but for those of you that do, I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Give thanks, people. Seriously, just give thanks. If you're healthy and your family's healthy, give thanks. And if for some reason you're not happy, or you're not healthy, or people in your family aren't healthy, still give thanks, but include some prayers. They help. I'm living proof of it. I prayed for a solution to my disability, and I got it. And I consider it a miracle, particularly the way it came to me. It was through a YouTube video. I had put in a search for sacroiliac joint dysfunction, and I had gotten a surgeon in Gainesville, Georgia. And I put in, 2 weeks later maybe, I put in an identical search term, and I got a completely different video that led me to Vicky Sims. They say the Lord works in mysterious ways, and as I say, I believe it came to me through my prayers. That I know that a lot of people, talk about, when I say something like that, there are people who say to me, well, I'm glad your friend up in the sky, your imaginary friend up in the sky, if that gives you satisfaction to think that, that's fine. But I've had people say that to me, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their beliefs, at least in America, and at least for the time being. But if you have any of those things that you can't they just seem too insurmountable for you to face them anymore, ask for help. And there are some things that only God can help you with. So, as I said, you've got a problem that you can't face, it's too big for you, ask God for help. give some prayers. This is a time of year when we should be thankful that we can do that, that there's nobody that can stop us from doing that in this country, and all of the blessings that we have in our lives, particularly me. I feel blessed every day, but particularly on this day, I'm reminded of how truly blessed I am. So this is probably wearing on you. I'm sorry. There's there's one guy out there that told me, stick a sock on your mic or learn how to do audio. Listening to you speak is annoying. Oh, I thanked him for his insightful comment. Told him that I hoped he would be my 797th subscriber, and I hope to hear from him again. Because believe me, folks, I feel blessed even to have people like that reach out to me on one of my videos. So I won't mention his name. I don't want to embarrass him, and I certainly don't want to give him any recognition. But I I couldn't even find his channel. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't really care, but I got such a kick out of put a sock on your mic or learn how to do audio. Listening to you talk is annoying. Oh, folks, that's it for today. Happy Thanksgiving. Over and out.